Wait, can I do a little PSA
Yeah.
first? Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Oh.
My condolences. No, I was joking. I'm so sorry that I didn't give you an episode. It is entirely my fault because I haven't edited it. So I'm sorry that you're just getting this episode now. We did record this in maybe December. It
I
is
don't
now
even remember.
April.
Do you remember?
I have no idea.
Yeah. When did we... Lara, do you remember? When did we record last?
It was a long time ago.
So
I honestly don't remember it was that long ago.
I hope you enjoy this episode regardless. We worked hard on it. And thank you. Goodbye.
What?
There she goes again.
Hello, everybody.
What was that?
Welcome.
Every time she does the same thing.
Because it gives me a nice thumbnail.
She
Oh.
Do what?
She is like, let's do the thing where we don't talk so we can see all three of us.
Oh,
for the start of the episode.
every time I'm
and
like...
then you're like, what?
No, because Marissa goes like this. And I'm like, what is that?
thumbnail.
What are we doing? Trying to seduce our audience?
It's full of thumbnail because it's the image I'm going to use.
Okay.
Do you want to
Okay.
do it again?
Okay, yes, please.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to PH Dam, the podcast for damned PhD students, those who wish to become damned PhD students, and those of us who made it into 2025, because this is our first episode, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
For people whose New Years are happy.
Yeah. mine
No,
is
for
like-
everyone. It's
Oh.
a wish for a happy new year.
Oh, okay,
It
my
doesn't mean that your year is happy already.
I don't
My
know. I feel
bad.
like the wish is lost on this year.
Oh, absolutely. New Year, everyone.
Woo. Mental health check.
New Year, new problems.
Okay, go first because you look like you just, I don't know how to describe how
mental
you look.
health.
I'm so tired. Okay.
God.
Okay, I'm on a new medication now, right?
Oh,
Because
okay.
Oh, okay.
The
Yeah, the
first
one was
medication.
killing you.
Yeah, which is so upsetting because it was really good medication.
Mm-hmm.
And so now this one is terrible. It's like a non-stimulant, huh?
I was just wondering, why did you have to change?
The other one was like making my blood pressure so high that I was like
okay.
at stroke levels of.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's because like they gave me a really high dosage of it when I didn't need it.
Why
Okay.
didn't they give you a lower dose to
That's what-
start with?
They did. So you have to start low and then work your way up.
Okay.
But like the halfway point was perfect for me.
Okay.
And then they just kept going up. So then I thought, okay, they'll bring it back down again. And she was like, no, we're cutting it off and we're giving you a whole new medication. And this one is terrible. Like I took it, the first day that I took it, I was supposed to go and like study and go to Tesco's and stuff. I was like so dizzy and like nauseous and like lethargic.
Yeah.
You know when you feel like you're like, ugh. Or like, you know when you're drunk
Mm-hmm.
and you lay down and then the world is spinning.
Yes.
It felt like that.
How long have you been taking it?
Like 2 weeks now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Give it another week or so and then go and tell them this doesn't.
yeah.
I have to report back every week. So
Okay.
every week I'm just like, this is terrible. But now I take it just before bed because it makes me so like heavy and weird. So I'll just take it then.
Do you have to take it? How many times do you have to take it?
Once a day. But
Okay.
it's like, it does nothing for like at least the other one, yes, it would have given me a stroke. But it made me so productive.
You would have finished your PhD.
I would have finished it in like 2 months. It was like, I was just doing so much. This one makes me do nothing.
Because
And
you're
it
just
just makes me
sleepy.
tired the whole
Yeah.
day. And I'm just like, ugh, and it depresses me.
What is the point of this medicine? Like, what is...
It's to make me focus and to make me focus, and also it stops the reuptake of adrenaline.
But if you don't have adrenaline or serotonin, how do you become...
It's like when you have like ADHD, you don't have enough dopamine and enough
Okay.
adrenaline, like things that make you happy and excited
Okay.
to do things. So
Motivated. Yeah.
and
Mm.
Yeah.
so that's why like you chop and change all the time, and that's why you always need to. You have like impulses and stuff to do things that make you, that provide dopamine, basically. So the medications are supposed to act to keep those things in your synapses for longer. This is supposed to do that, but it doesn't feel like it's doing that.
Okay.
So it has like no effect for me apart from all the side effects. So I'm just kind of like, put me on something else.
Yeah.
But I had supervision today, and my supervisors were like, well, if it gets worse and it like starts affecting your work a bit more and stuff, like consider just taking a leave of absence again. So you figure it out and then.
Yeah, I mean, when I had taken a leave of absence, it was because I had changed medications and it just fucked up my complete system and I couldn't do anything.
Right, but I'm just like, I don't want to because I want to finish.
Yeah, no, I know.
Were your leave of absences paid?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Because it's medical.
Okay.
So if it's medical or like for a reason that is they consider that it's important or
Viable.
necessary or whatever the fuck, they pay it.
Okay.
They didn't even ask me, to be honest, but like, yeah, no.
So yeah, that's how I am. I did have a really good supervision today.
Oh, nice.
That's good.
Yeah, it was a good supervision. It gave me a bit more direction because I've just been flagging because especially Christmas, you know, that period of coming back.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have 2 weeks now to write a chapter.
How many have you written?
None.
Okay.
I don't know who else has written chapters except you.
Vicky.
Well,
Vicky. Okay.
I think he's written like one
Okay. One is
or
acceptable.
two. One, I don't know.
Yeah.
I have also written one and not completed it. It's just
Okay.
that I've reached my word limit. And just like,
Okay.
yeah.
I wrote like half of one and I was like, I'm almost at the word limit and I have like
Yeah.
so much left.
What's your
Yeah.
word limit per chapter?
10.
Okay.
Oh,
Yours?
12.
Okay.
But I haven't
would like a
finished.
12.
Yeah.
What's your word limit for your entire thesis that your supervisors have told you?
I think
100.
80.
100?
Mm.
Mine
It's like-
tells me 70 because she knows I will write 90 if she tells me 70.
Yeah, it's good. It's good practice.
Yeah, I know it because one other friend of mine that submitted her PhD like a while ago now, she wrote, I think, like almost 130.
Oh my
which
God.
could be like 2 PhDs.
I'm aiming for like an 80.
Yeah.
So if I get to 100, sure. But
Yeah.
I probably will actually. Sociology has ruined me in that sense. It makes me write way more words than I
You
need
also
to.
did so many things, so then
That's
Yeah.
true.
you just keep talking about things.
So many things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
Lara?
Okay, so after Christmas, it took me a while to like start working. And then I checked my emails and I realized that I had these 3 upcoming deadlines
Oh no.
that were for, the first one was for that stupid, it's not a TNA, it's the one from our funder. Have you not done that?
Oh,
That was in the start of the in
development
January.
needs analysis.
Development
or something.
needs analysis bullshit, right? Okay, that was one of them. The other one was our department wanted us to finish our submission review forms and submit them to our department last week.
Yes.
And then the third one is, I'm still doing that, is the TNA, and that is a training needs analysis for the department and the personal development plan, right? And these are the things that I hate the most when it comes to the PhD. Like, I can literally not concentrate on them. Like, I'll put them on my screen, start typing, and in 10 minutes, because I'm so bored, I just, like, doze off, look away, do something completely different.
Why are you having to do this? Is it because your department wants you to?
Yeah, but, like, don't you need to submit them every year in the start of the year?
We don't. We haven't looked at them for a very long time.
Okay,
I haven't
so
looked
that's
at
my
them.
biggest problem. Last year, when I was supposed to submit them, I was on leave. So I did not do it, and no one ever chased me or told me anything. My supervisors forgot about it. Our admin woman forgot about it. So now I'm literally have the TNA, and I need to fill it in with what I did like this year and the whole previous year, because I had not filled it in. So I had to go back in my calendar
Yeah.
Okay.
and check everything. It
Every
takes
week.
so much
It
time.
does, it
and then
does.
decide in what like fucking core competency you need to put it in, and remember what the fuck this was about and what you learned from it to write it down. And I hate it so much.
Yeah.
So it's been like I wanted to jump in and start like doing like my symposium like analysis and like start writing and stuff like that, and suddenly I got all of this like admin things and I just want to get them done, but I can't because I cannot concentrate. Yeah, that's mostly it.
The worst part though is that they're all the same documents
Yeah, in different formats or
and
whatever.
for different people.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why they don't just talk to each other.
Yeah, like
and
what
just
the
say,
hell, yeah.
Can you send this person's training needs analysis to your funder?
Yeah.
And then it's just like all done. You don't have to do the one for
White
the fund.
Rose.
Yeah, you
No.
don't.
But that one is not as hard because they don't want the whole TNA.
Okay.
They just ask you some questions and they want you to reflect on like the things that they ask you.
Okay.
And they've changed it this year. So it's not like last year it was worse, I think. So they changed it
Yeah.
a bit. So it was not that bad.
I just copied
But-
and pasted from my biannual review. and I was
Yeah, you
just
have
like-
that too. So yeah.
That's why we don't do the
Yeah.
TNA stuff, because we have to
Yeah.
do it every 6 months anyway. So
But yeah, that's that TNA is like my least favorite thing ever.
I absolutely forgot about it, but now that you're doing it, maybe I will also do it because I will not have
Just
time for
at
it
least keep
later
like
on.
a document.
Yeah.
Where every time that you go in like,
Yeah.
to a workshop or to a seminar or you
Yeah.
do something that is
Yeah.
TNA related,
Yeah.
you just copy in the link, the date, the time,
Yeah.
who funded it, how many hours it
Yeah,
was. So you don't need
yeah.
to go backwards.
Yeah.
If you're just
Yeah.
starting your PhD, please do this.
Yeah.
yes, so I have like
Yes.
a database on Notion
Okay.
that like has all the 8 core competencies
Oh,
that
nice.
we have to like.
And do you
Abide
like
by.
keep it updated?
Yeah, so like every time we go to
Wow.
a training, I just put like the
It's
date
like,
I went to it
this
and
is-
what competency
This
aligns
is the
to.
type of thing
Mm-hmm.
that I set up because I have something like that set up, not in Notion, somewhere else, and then I never use. Like
no,
I just
it's-
spend hours like saying, okay, I'll do this, and I organize it, and that's how I will enter the things, and then I never.
I don't do it regularly, but I make it a point to do it while I'm at the thing.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
like I went to a GTA training, I'll put it in there.
Okay.
But like, if I don't do it regularly, then I'll update every few months and be like, okay, I've done this, and just put it in. Because I don't want that time to
Yeah.
come. Like, I don't want it to come.
Yep.
And I'm like, what did I do? I don't remember.
Same. I'm so scared that at one point they'll be like, "Oh, can you submit your TNA?" And oh my god.
And they will.
And then there is this
And they
other
will. They
thing that
will.
we need
They
to
will.
do that is accepted TNA when we are submitting our PhD.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what it's called, but it's this thing that is like you need to reflect
Mm-hmm.
on one thing or a couple of things that you did for each core competency and write
no.
like a thing, like I don't know how long, like maybe couple paragraphs or something.
I mean, I'm good at like making shit up. So
Yeah.
I will
Yeah.
continue to do that.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, but that's like the formal thing that you need to submit with your PhD, I think.
okay.
Yeah, anyway, Pragya,
Yeah.
let's get out of the admin.
Oh, I'm gonna say something and it'll be like, "Oh, nothing has changed."
Okay.
But I am again at that point where I have burned myself out. I have not had one holiday since April last year,
Oh my
and I
God.
just need to.
Sorry, when you say you haven't had a holiday, you mean a day off?
No.
Okay,
I've had day offs.
Oh, okay.
Like a holiday, like a proper going somewhere, or like a week
Oh.
full of. Yeah, I've had day offs. Yeah, no, I have done that, but I've not, stayed away from work. The entire Christmas season, I didn't stay away from work, and then. Yeah, and now it's New Year's and I can't stay away from work because we are teaching next semester and there's so much to do around that. So I am actually thinking of taking a leave of absence soon because I don't think my brain can like compute any further. And like after the semester, obviously, but like maybe in June or July, like take a month off.
I
or-
would say do it like soon.
Well, there is no time. is
Check if
there?
you can teach and have a leave of absence.
I will
because-
teach for you. I don't care.
But I do have to teach too for the experience.
No, I mean like
Yeah, whatever.
You
If you
can
lose
do
a
it-
couple of classes.
Yeah.
maybe.
No, a couple of classes is
Yeah,
fine,
yeah.
but like I don't know. I have to figure it out basically. But yeah, I'm at that point again where I've just and I can't. I feel like I also cannot allow myself for some reason because there's so much to do that every day if I'm not working, I feel like I'm sinning. and that I will never finish.
I hate this feeling. I get it all the time too. Like I might but don't do this to yourself because you know that you'll burn out. Better take holidays beforehand and then
And my supervisors are so nice because they do tell me to take holidays, and and the fact that they see me struggle and to be like seen like that, especially from supervisors, I feel like makes you feel even more like, you know, I could actually go and take a holiday, but I'm still not being able to allow myself one. So I'm still working on it. But I'm burnt out, I'm tired, but I'm still working and I'm writing every day. Just every morning giving myself a pep talk. I don't know where my mental health is because I've not really thought about it. I don't have time to think about my mental health, and I'm going to ruin some men's lives soon because I have also decided to date again.
Yay.
Not date again, go on dates, which is different, obviously. Yeah, okay. So good luck to everyone. I think who will go on dates with me because I am doing it as a distraction from my thesis. I'm doing so much to distract myself from the thesis, not just men, but also like. But also like
women,
like sure, yes, also women, yeah,
animals.
and
No, that's what
animals.
My God,
boundaries,
okay, but like I've just gotten into this project. I don't know, Marisa, do you see it? But like this, there was an advertisement for this South Asian women's menopause. And I was like, this is my opportunity. If I don't do this, I would be. Yeah, that would be shit. So I was just like, I've gotten that on and I'm doing it.
But that's not like a Sheffield thing, is it? It's like
it is in Rotherham, but it is by Sheffield-based companies and organizations.
What is this?
It's like I have to take focus groups of South Asian women in Hindi, Bengali, and Urdu. Basically South Asian languages about their menopause experiences.
Okay.
That's really cool.
Are you getting paid?
I am getting paid.
Nice.
But it's not my thesis. So I'll have to know. So yeah, I'm doing a lot to distract myself, and I think it's working. Yeah.
I think it's hard though. I think sometimes we need to like cut ourselves some slack.
Yeah.
Because like there's this whole I need to take a holiday thing and knowing that you need a break. And then there's the mountain of work that you have to do that stops you from taking a break. And so no matter how many times people tell you, take a break, especially if it's not like a leave of absence where it's an actual pause in your PhD. Like you have a timeline to work towards.
Yeah.
And the same people telling you to take a break are also the people technically pressuring you to that timeline. So it puts you in like a weird catch-22, like cognitive dissonance position.
Yeah.
So it's understandable.
Absolutely.
But yes, we do need breaks.
Yeah.
What are we talking about today?
A good question.
Well, we didn't know it till very recently.
We decided.
Yeah.
Hadn't we decided?
A little bit.
Yeah, kind of. It's like, look, if this takes too much mental effort from us, we'll stop doing it.
Yeah.
So if you want us to continue doing it, you should just like go with whatever we're talking about and not make too many requests. Or maybe make requests because then it's easier because we don't need to decide.
That is so true.
Take the mental effort away from us.
Oh my God. If you really care about us, you should tell us what to do.
So I considered starting like a whiteboard or some sort of thing where a person can anonymously
go on and say, I want you to talk about this. Okay. Do you think people would use it?
I think so. I think the anonymous side of it would make it more used. Because like with Spotify and stuff like that, it's very highlighting of who you are, and
we can do that.
That can be daunting. Yeah, I was just
how
thinking
many
like what
followers
would
do
we
we have?
use? Like
Do you
what
know?
software? I haven't checked in a long time.
That's same. I have not.
Should I check?
I've not checked in so long, and I don't know what's going on with the podcast or anything.
I guess in that time, someone can say what we're talking about.
Okay. So what are we talking about? So we've done our field work. We're all completely done with our field work, right?
No.
What?
Well,
Wait, you're
no,
not
no,
done?
I am
You
done.
are
Oh.
done, right?
But
That's why I
Marissa
looked
told
at
me the
her.
other day that she
I'm not
wasn't
done.
done.
You're
so.
not done.
I'm not done.
Okay, you'll talk
My-
about that. Yeah.
My cutoff is the 19th of February just because one woman came out of nowhere and said, hey, I can only interview on
Okay.
the 19th of February.
Okay, so it's
So-
like an outlier, but
Yes.
like generally you're done except
No.
this one interview.
No.
No.
What?
Okay.
I'm going to the end of the month
Okay. This
and then
month.
I'm done.
Okay, we're almost done with our field work.
Yes.
Yes.
We're in that phase that we start to see what did we learn from all of these things that we did.
Yes.
How do we analyze it? And then more importantly, how do we put it together and make it into a cohesive argument, thesis, whatever,
Yes.
and start writing it up. And writing is not easy for anyone, I think. I don't know if it's easy for anyone. Is it easy for you?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Is it?
No.
It's not easy, but it's not hard.
Yeah,
No,
not
it's
the
not hard.
part,
No, it's not
but
hard.
it takes a lot of effort to stay on top of it. Does that make sense?
I guess. I think for me, it's analysis is the harder
Okay.
part out of the two.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that today, right?
Yes.
So how
Yeah.
many followers do we have?
362.
Ooh,
Oh.
did that grow from last
Wow.
time?
It's
Actually?
grown
Yeah.
in the last month. It's grown by 9, and the last 3 months it's grown by 43.
Wow.
So it's not terrible.
Cool. Yeah.
It's not.
Good
Given the amount of effort we put into it.
Yeah. We have other things to do. My God.
Yeah, like that's the whole point of this podcast
Yeah.
is that we have a lot of things to do. And we just come together to rant about the things that we need to do.
Right. This is kind of like a diary in a sense.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
a
It
diary
definitely
of
is. Yeah.
3 PhD
I also get to
friends.
know about you both because I feel
Yes.
like I don't see you both as
Yeah.
frequently
I
as I did before, and so it's a great way to catch up and
Right.
like.
I've seen you
get
guys
to know.
once in 2025. So
I mean, it's
But it's
January.
just 2025.
yeah, but it's like we used to see each other all the time. It's the 23rd.
That's true. Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah.
Like
true.
Yeah, we should meet more often. And I also feel that I know kind of what you two are up to in regards to your PhDs. But all of our other friends,
yeah, like
I have no idea what
Honestly.
you're all doing.
they could have died and we would not know.
That's not true.
No, I mean, I would
Okay,
have
maybe we
known.
don't.
No,
They
we would know.
Like, we're quite gossipy. News travels fast in our friend
Or like
group.
silently in their houses while they were by themselves and nobody would know.
I think most people have roommates, so I hope this won't happen.
Okay.
I suppose that you and Vicky don't live together, but you keep...
We kind of live together.
you kind of,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So I think everyone's covered. I
Yeah.
hope so, at least. Please, no one
Yeah.
die on your house on your own.
No. Not just no one die because obviously I love them, but also like no one die because I don't have the space to deal with the
deal
death of
with
a
it.
friend.
Oh my
I cannot
God.
do it.
There's no
So,
time.
no, don't die.
It's so
Don't
sad.
even think about dying. No.
Can I say
This is
something
not okay.
completely irrelevant? Can I say something completely irrelevant?
Okay.
Yes.
The other day, I got this email from a notary in Austria, where my dad's side of the family is from,
Yeah.
that sent me like 20 PDFs of like multiple pages each in German, like legal documents
Okay.
that are like basically my grandmother's will. And like, I don't know what the fuck they did, who got what and whatever the hell. And I was just like, I cannot deal with this right now.
Why was
I
she
need
not
to speak
dead
German.
before?
She died like, when was that? In April?
Oh, last year.
Last year, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so yeah, it's not, it's recent.
It's recent. Yeah.
So I think now they just
yeah.
got to like doing the paperwork.
Yeah.
And I think
yeah,
because my dad has passed away, he has nothing in this will because he gave up everything when he, I don't know, my mom was so angry at him because he was like, I don't want anything from anyone. And my mom was like, it's not for you, it's for your kids. Like, what the fuck is your
Yeah.
problem? Anyway, so there is nothing, I know there is nothing in that will for me, but they had to send me the documents. But I just literally got the PDF. I opened one of them. I read like 2 pages, tried to read 2 pages of legal jargon in German. And I was like, I'm not dealing with that.
Right.
And
'Cause
it's just like,
do you even know legal jargon in German?
you know how German works? Like they have, their words are really long
Yeah.
because they put words together.
Yes.
Right? So they just take like, instead of making new word for a thing, they just take 3 words that exist.
Like kindergarten.
Kinda, yeah. And they
Yeah.
just slap them together. So if I read it slowly and I try to comprehend what words each word is consisting of, then I understand what it says.
But that's so
But
much
it's like,
work.
Too much.
it takes too much effort from me. So I was like, I cannot deal with that, and I just closed it.
Can you not put it into a translator?
Probably I will
Think.
do that,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But they are like scanned PDFs.
Mm.
So it doesn't like recognize.
The Google app
Yeah,
use
yeah,
it like a
I know,
picture.
yeah, I know, but they like, I need to do that at some point. But I was like, you said death, grief, and then I remember that my grandma died, and I was like,
Don't even have for time to see my will if
Well-
there's something left for
yeah,
me.
I think
or
I did not
something.
process that my grandma died. I kind of forget about it, and then I'm like, she's dead.
Yeah, that's so sad.
It is sad, yeah,
May
but
she
I
rest
didn't
in
see her
perfect
that
peace.
that often. So I think I didn't.
Ah.
I mean, I had like, I loved her a lot, but I didn't see her that often. So it's not
She
like
didn't
I
come for your
feel like-
wedding either, did she?
No, because she already had Alzheimer's and was
Oh,
like in a
okay.
care home. So she
Oh.
was like,
She wouldn't even know who you were.
Yeah.
probably not. Yeah.
Mm.
But my
Anyway.
grandmother had Alzheimer's too, and I always tell people that that was the best time of her life.
Really?
Yeah,
My other
'cause-
grandma that I lived with when she had Alzheimer's, it was definitely not a good
Yeah,
time
it's
for
terrible.
anyone. It
No,
was
because in
terrible.
India, like throughout her life, I saw her like really like cook for everyone and take care of everything and like feel this responsibility to like do things. Whereas when she had Alzheimer's, she started smoking. And she couldn't recognize any of us, and she didn't give a fuck. Like how it was very freeing. I feel like for her in a way. I can't speak for her, but she looked more like as if
Chill.
like chill. Yes.
But that's sad.
It
Like
is.
you had
That
to
is
lose your
sad.
mind to chill out. Okay.
We should not lose our minds to chill from this bloody PhD. This is where this conversation has gotten,
Yeah.
okay? Like chill now.
Chill now.
Don't wait to lose your minds.
So, okay,
Yeah.
let's talk about
Okay, yeah.
analysis of
Sorry, I
what happens
completely-
after field work.
What happens after the field work?
I don't want to go first because I don't really know how I'm gonna.
Pragya, I think you're the
Okay.
most advanced.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you should start.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I can start. Okay. What happens after the field? I came back to England after the field work, so that happened to me.
Had you done any analysis while you were in
yes.
India?
So my because I'm doing an institutional ethnography.
Geek.
Geek. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Nerd.
Yeah, that's true. I am.
Sorry.
I don't know what to say. It is true. Because of my framework, the analysis of it. I'm doing an institutional ethnography. Google or like listen to other episodes to know what that is. But the analysis of the entire project starts actually before the fieldwork. So you already have certain sort of understandings of the world or like how you're going to approach it, blah, blah.
You
and
did that
lots
too,
of...
and I did that too. So
What?
we're all nerds.
Yeah.
It was.
Because you like did document analysis.
But
Yeah.
that was field work. Like I see that as field work.
I guess, yeah.
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 it's
Yeah.
field work.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so I had to do analysis when I was doing my fieldwork too. It was in 2 steps. So when I finished or when I was doing my first phase of fieldwork, I was already understanding and analyzing the kind of things that I'm going to do for my second phase. So all of that was happening, but I don't think I had enough time or energy to do it as I was doing my fieldwork because India was very difficult to live in. It was
Hot.
very hot. I was sick all the time and I had no energy. And now I realize that because I should have done more. And I know it sounds horrible, but like it's like there were things that I could have done back then, but I just couldn't for whatever reasons. Anyway, so fieldwork, analysis, even writing was happening at the same time. I personally think it was a great advantage because now that I look back at my field notes where I was writing these essays, mostly they were meaningless, but there were parts that now help me to remember things and to remember what was going on. So thank God I wrote those things and thank God I took field notes about stuff. One of the examples, I don't know if you guys want examples, but one of the examples is, so I'm looking at particular caste-marked slums where there's a lot of waste, as in there's waste on the road, there's smell of waste, and there's a lot of like, I don't know, embodiedness of waste in those sort of slums. And what I did was I had this journal for myself where I used to come and write about how I was feeling after spending a day around waste. And I didn't think that that would have really helped me later on. But now it has actually become a good part of my analysis, where I did think that just being around that space for a very limited amount of time and writing down my feelings about it has something to talk about, like the sensory aspects of caste. So I don't know if it is very obviously academic or obviously I don't know, helping my thesis, but these sort of stuff I was doing already during my fieldwork. Did you guys do similar things, or?
Yep.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about it? I don't know.
I thought you had more to say.
I could, but I was just
guess.
thinking whether during the fieldwork was there analysis and writing happening for you guys too?
Yes, like you said, I've kept a journal since the first year. So it's called, it's an electronic one. It's called Day One. I really like it because it's like written, but there's also, you can voice note and you can video.
Nice.
So there were times where I might leave a meeting or whatever and I don't have time to write. So I would just voice note it and it was just easier. And you can transcribe it, but I don't like to transcribe my ramblings because it makes no sense. But where it works really well analysis wise was well, I actually haven't started this analysis properly, but where I was interviewing staff from the organization that I am collaborating with, I noticed things like, the fact that I am a Black woman and then I'm interviewing predominantly white people. And we're talking about racial health and equality. And I noticed, like, through body language and stuff like that, all the discomfort that radiates out of them, but also out of me. And the way I navigate the world in talking about things like race with white people, and how this is not a normal conversation I would have, and how it makes everyone uncomfortable because we don't talk about it. And I sort of code switch in a way, or like sort of try to change things. Like I might not say racial health and equality, I might say ethnic equalities, or I might just say health and equalities, and you know, stuff like that. And that made me sort of realize stuff about my results as well, like the things that I'm finding. Am I finding these things? Are people telling me certain things because of who I am? You know, so it's like having that whole reflexive understanding of how those interviews went. Like that's what I wrote in my journal, and then like found papers and stuff about it, which was really interesting because most papers are also about white interviewers and interviewees who are people of color, so not really the other way around.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the usual dynamic.
Right.
Sort of,
so then I was like, well, this in itself, like I just wrote it to be like, to rant a little bit and be a bit more reflexive, but then it sort of became a finding in my eyes through the journal writing, if that made sense.
Nice.
Like it made me reflect more on what's happening and like, oh, this is actually probably more important than I initially gave it credit for. So yeah.
No, I think beyond like proper like sitting down and analyzing interviews that I can talk about later, I think one thing that I had not considered as part of my process of analyzing or digesting or reflecting on information was the fact that I had decided that all the interviews that I was doing were recorded and then they would go like online. It requires you to sit down and listen to the whole thing again, to edit bits out, right? And then also write a summary and find a title and do all of this work that is like kind of post-editing work on the interview that normally we don't do. Like you do analysis, like you listen to it, like to transcribe it or whatever. But I feel like it's an extra step like in the process where I was just like listening back to what we were saying and not that much paying attention on like, you know, what the themes are or what I'm learning from this, but more on the like other things that were happening or how I was reacting or how they were reacting to things that I was asking them. And I think even that those small writings of me kind of trying to figure out what was the important thing that came out of this conversation. How do I put a title on it? How do I write a summary on it? I think it was useful, and I hadn't realized it was useful until like now that I'm thinking back on it. And I'm kind of really jealous of you, because before, when I used to do research, it was usually more like embedded in a context.
Right.
Like go somewhere and like do research out and about, and this was like completely different for me. Like I had done similar things beforehand, but it was not what I was like you know, my thing to do, right? So I felt a bit removed from this field work, because what is the field? If the field is like your computer, or like, I don't know, like it's weird. Like you need to find other ways to like anchor yourself or link yourself to the people that you're talking with, that don't have to do with where are we sitting, what is around us, how do I feel. Like it was very disembodying in a way.
I completely agree. I think it's more challenging to do online interviews than doing...
It's very disembodying. Like I felt that all the time. And I think in relation to the migraines that I was having and feeling weird inside my body, and then having this very disconnected like relationship with the people that I was talking with, it was so strange. I think it became better in the symposium, but I think that's a way that I sort of reflect on the conversations through like sitting down and like re-putting them together and summarizing them and stuff like that. And I think I have a bit of a different perspective on them because of that.
So I think we all can sort of agree that both writing, analyzing, and all of these things happen quite early on, even though
you don't
usually you say that the third year is the writing year or the analysis year or whatever, but I think you begin way before. And it sort of, I would encourage other people, if you know you guys are doing PhDs, I would say that start like journaling on writing. I think it really helps later on, and I also sometimes feel like I wish I would have journaled more, and like I wish I would have given that more effort. It's not going to ever be perfect, but like I think there are parts and bits that I can't very clearly remember, and I wish I did, and it would have been better. And then I came back here, and one of the things that I did last 3 months, and I don't wish this upon even my enemy, is transcriptions.
Are you transcribing?
Manually, by myself.
But not manual.
Across 3 languages. Don't do it. Don't do it, babes. Don't do it.
When you say manual, like across 3 languages, do you mean the interview was in one language, you translated it to another?
No, I don't translate. I transcribe. But like the interviews are in 2 languages.
Okay.
And what's happening now is I am writing in English script, but the language is Bengali and Hindi and a little bit of Bihari. So it's like
you're using like the English alphabet.
Yes.
Okay.
Don't do it. Do other things in life. You don't need this. And I am so stupid that I actually thought that I could do it in 2 months. I have only done, by the way, phase 1 transcriptions for the last, when did I come back? October, November, December, January, 4 months.
So can I ask, what is the point? Like, why you didn't just keep it to the original script?
Yeah, I was told by my supervisor it is in the original script. It's not translated. It's just transcribed.
No, I mean, like, why did you not just use...
Because maybe she's...
Like, why did you use English? Like,
I can't...
English alphabet.
She can't write.
I can't write in the other things. It's very difficult. Also, it's very difficult on the keyboard. Like, you need different keyboards and you need different, like, keys. It's very, it's more complicated than already. But I do want to make a case for transcriptions, because I've thought about it enough. Because my supervisors didn't want me to transcribe the entire thing. They were like, transcribe only bits and pieces. But I took this decision of transcribing because I do not want to decide on which bits and pieces are important and which aren't from beforehand. Because sometimes you might listen to an interview and be like, oh, this is very important and it's very, significant for what I'm thinking right now. But later on, something else might come up and you might want to go back and be like, oh, I wish I had transcribed the entire thing. One of the things that I'm having right now is that I'm looking at maternal health. So if I would have just transcribed some bits, I would have given that priority to maternal health. But it turns out that I also want to look at the religious aspects and how many times God has been called in these interviews, and like the role of religion in understanding pregnancy. And it's quite huge in India. I mean, everywhere, but also like people pray a lot to God so that they can get a male child, or they can get a child at all, and all of those things. And I want to look at that, and I wouldn't have done it if I would have just specifically chosen certain bits of my interview. And that's how I'm basically trying to make a case. But also, if you can do other simpler things in life, just do other simpler things. I don't recommend it. In UK especially, like in 3 years, babes, no, you shouldn't.
I like agree and disagree, like transcript wise. Like I agree with your reasoning.
Yeah.
I disagree with having a transcript. But it's more like personal preference. Like I prefer to just play the thing again.
Right.
Like I like playing the thing over and over. I don't know why, but
I think I feel similarly with you.
Reading it as text to me, right? For me, transcripts I cannot divorce from the video.
Okay.
Because it's like when you text someone, like all of that emotion and the tone and everything is gone.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I need that to understand what happened. Like I can't read a transcript and be like, oh, that's what was happening. No, like I genuinely can't understand it. I don't know how to, because like written word to me looks a certain way and spoken word looks a certain way, and it doesn't make sense in my head.
Yeah.
So that's why I hate transcripts.
Okay.
So you're not transcribing?
I am, because my supervisors want me to.
Okay.
And because when I code, I still use the text and I drag them into Post-it notes and put them in the things, but I have to play the video at the same time, so I don't actually mind going back.
Yeah.
But I do not manually transcribe. I found this really good transcription thing that keeps everything local, so it doesn't actually take the data. And it translates in like 100 languages or something.
Oh, wow.
All of the languages that you're doing, actually.
Oh, that's really good. Is it, what is it called? Secure? No.
I can't even remember what it's called, but
is it? Do you pay for it?
No.
No.
It's free. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I just randomly found it, and it just.
Okay, you should find the name and tell us, but also everyone else, because
it's in my phone actually. Let me find it.
If there's a data breach or something, I don't know.
Whatever.
But the data is stored in my phone, and like it's stored on my devices.
It doesn't upload
It doesn't
the
take any
data.
data.
Oh, it doesn't upload. Oh, okay.
That's
a
why it's
cool
really
thing.
good.
Oh, yeah, that is cool.
It's called Aiko, like AIKO. I really enjoyed it.
That's really good.
Like I took it because of the whole data thing. I was like, oh, it goes like around that issue.
Right.
So yeah.
My thing with transcription is that because they were all online, so I have the automatic transcription from Google Meet.
Yeah.
That in cases is good, in cases is bad, but it always has errors that you need to go back and like fix, right? So in the start, I started to going back at each interview and like fixing the transcription completely from start to finish. And it took me so long. Again, because I cannot concentrate to do it. It's just the most boring thing. So I did it at the same time that I was doing something else, which makes no sense because you need to read, listen, and do another thing. But if I don't do another thing, I can't concentrate on doing it. Anyway, and then I stopped doing it. So now I have the recordings and these transcriptions that are kind of wrong. And I do take things from them, but I listen to the recording anyway. So if I want to take something and it's a bit wrong, I'll fix that bit and take that bit.
Is it like almost correct? As in like...
yes.
As in like, if you read a paragraph, would you get a sense of what this person is trying to say?
Yes, I understand what they're trying to say, but sometimes the words don't make sense.
And
or because
accents.
people have accents.
Yes.
And I'm talking to people everywhere in the world and they have very different accents to each other. So in some people, it's much clearer. For some of them, it's a bit like, I don't understand what this person is saying.
But then you can go to that
bit and
Yeah.
fix
Bit
it.
and fix it.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
doing
yeah,
because
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, I just
Yeah,
could like
that's
sit
really
here
good.
for like months and
That's
fix
really
the whole
good.
thing.
Mine was terrible. Like, it does not understand like the way Black Londoners speak at all.
Yeah,
So
I can't
like
see that.
one of my interviews
Well.
was with like a person who is like a friend of mine. So we were just
Technological
talking
racism.
like
Yeah, like
normally,
yeah.
and it was just not picking it. Like I was like terrible. And then it put things in the wrong place. Like in like the
Oh.
times are wrong. So like it put like half of it down here and then other
sometimes
bits.
it does a hiccup and it does that.
Oh no.
It did it so many times. I was
Really?
like,
For me,
I'm
it was
never
just, like,
using Google
once.
again.
Oh
Okay.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
No,
So
that's
it
terrible.
was
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
Okay. Next
Okay,
step.
next step.
Next step. Okay.
Yeah.
Next step is wrong. So don't follow me.
Okay.
But I think I started writing while I was transcribing rather than coding. I didn't do coding. I didn't do.
What were you writing about?
When I was listening to like these
Yeah.
interviews, there were things that were coming up a lot,
Yeah.
and these were like already had a sense of what is
Yeah.
coming up, as in everybody was complaining about their houses, for example. So I was talking about the fact that everybody is complaining about
Okay.
their housing situation, but I wasn't putting like the particular sort of interview responses as such, but I was just like, I was just writing this blueprint of what I want to write,
Okay.
Also like a plan.
Yeah.
but in a more writing way.
Oh.
It's like the fact that
a
most of my
flow
participants,
of her thoughts and the
that most of my
Oh,
participants,
yeah.
that the housing situation is a very big aspect of what bothers them in their everyday life, like that, you
I
know.
can't lie though, my plans are all like that. Like my plans are like, my actual plan for one of my chapters was like 10,000 words in
What?
itself.
how.
Because I write so elaborately when I plan.
Right.
But a plan is like
They're
A
bullet points
structure.
still.
But
Yeah.
do you not take also use that bit later
I
on?
don't use it as like the verbatim words.
Oh,
I
really?
Still add. Yeah.
Oh, no.
I'm terrible for that.
Yeah, no, you should. I mean, if you've written 10,000
if-
words,
if-
why not?
If you can that easily write, I think that's a thing that I
yeah.
have problems with, like letting loose.
Oh,
When I
see-
write, I'm like the opposite. I need to write a paragraph and it needs to be good.
Mm.
Like it needs to be really good. Like it needs to look good. It needs to have the right syntax, say everything that I want it
Yeah.
to say,
Yes.
etc.
But that's for me, the writing. Whereas the
Okay.
plan, I write it how I would say it.
Okay.
So it's just elaborate. Like it's just
Yeah.
a ramble, but it has a point.
Okay.
My supervisors do not like plans. So they don't like plans. They always tell me, stop giving us what you're doing methodologically. Just do
Do
it.
it.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the things that I've started is like taking that seriously now. And what I'm doing right now is also like, I'm just writing. And I think they really prefer the richness of data over whether you're doing it in the more traditional way, which is basically transcriptions, coding, analysis, writing. They're like, if you have seen, if you have observed certain things and if you have heard certain interview responses and you think it makes sense, write it down. And then like you can do the coding later on, you can do stuff later on too. So I had already started writing when I was transcribing because, I was already in the process of thinking about things. And you guys saw, I think, especially Marissa, that I had these sort of like post-it notes on an A4 sheet and like so many of them. That was my mental coding. Like every time something came up, I would just like put it on which really annoyed Marissa because she wanted a bigger
Like I had Pragya for Secret
paper.
Santa.
Yeah.
I was so upset because I picked her out the gift, but then I had to
I can
redo my Secret
I can show
Santa.
them one of them. Yeah, but like
And so then Pragya wasn't my Secret Santa anymore, but it was personalized to her. It was something like called The Mind of Pragya or something like that.
yeah,
Oh yes, can you put that on the camera, please?
I can. Yeah. Hello. Oh, okay. That's what.
Maybe let Marissa show it that is alone on the head.
Yeah.
She's
Okay.
more zoomed in.
All of us can have one.
Okay, so hello everyone. This is Pragya's nose.
Pragya's
It really
notes.
upset me.
Upside
Like I don't
down.
think you understand. Do you know what it is? As somebody who
Oh
has
my
like
god. Wait, I'm looking at it closer now and I'm like
As somebody who, I think it's because I'm also neurodivergent, so my mind is chaotic, right? So I hate chaos because I know what it means.
Yes.
So when I see people do things in a chaotic way, it upsets
Okay, can
me.
we
like,
have photos of this on Instagram?
Of course.
Yes.
Okay.
But this is what my mind looks like, by the way. This
Yeah.
is what,
So for the Secret Santa, it was like, you know, the sketchbooks, they're like so much bigger.
Oh, you lost gender.
Of course.
Right, but you know how sketchbooks are so much bigger and there's more space and stuff. It was a sketchbook with like Pragya's name or whatever at the front, like the mind of Pragya, inside the mind of Pragya. And then it had all the space on every page so she could have like things and
Post-its
organize the
notes.
post-its nicely. And I was like, this is more for me than it is for her, if I'm honest.
It's for your mental well-being. Sitting next to Pragya.
Well,
Every time I saw it, I was like, oh my God.
so this is what I was doing. Yes,
Okay.
this is what I was doing. I was doing a coding in I don't know, in a very haphazard way, but it really helped me. I still use these a lot.
I mean, it's not really coding. It's more like themes that come
Yeah,
up, right?
yeah,
Because when we're
yeah.
talking coding, we're talking more of this paragraph is related to this concept or whatever, right?
When you match the following
when you
kind,
match your themes that you have
yes.
or your concepts
But
with
I think
different
I
things.
think what I'm really trying to get from these are codes, like possible codes that that can be different, because sometimes there's so much going on in that research that sometimes I forget, and suddenly it hits me that that's an interesting thing that I completely forgot about.
But if you've completely skipped the codes and gone straight to your theme,
I haven't.
then but then like
I'm
why
coding right now. Because I couldn't
Okay.
code because I didn't finish the transcription. So
But then do you need to?
I do want to code. Yeah,
Okay.
I do. I'm coding right now, just for ease, and I'm doing it manually. I'm not doing it on NVivo. So
I hate NVivo.
I hate NVivo
It's
too.
horrible.
I don't, but I'm also not using it.
I use whiteboards all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, spreadsheets, because I like spreading sheets.
Spreadsheets.
Google spreadsheets. Google Sheets. Sorry.
Whoa.
I use like Miro. Like I have like a whiteboard. It has the code. I attach things to that code
But
from
how do
different
you?
documents.
What about
From
like
different
big
people.
interview responses or something?
No, I break them up because not everything. Sometimes I might put it in the post-it if it's like the whole thing, because you can still zoom in on each one and be able to see.
Yeah.
And each post-it has like the tag for which participant said what. So I can be like, well, across these types of people, like what are the similarities or differences
what if
between them?
What if one piece of interview response can come under different codes?
I copy and paste them.
Okay.
Or if there's only like a specific bit that's pertaining and I don't need the whole quote, then I'll
Okay.
just cut that bit out and yeah.
Wow.
See, my brain cannot do like my brain
I'm-
would feel.
I'm
oh my
even
God.
a step further than you.
Okay.
So like you have your nice mural board and you have like your codes and you have your post-its nicely organized next to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have like a sheet for each interview, not for all of them, because at some point I stopped doing it because I changed halfway through what the fuck I was doing. But it's basically like I'm not gonna call it a mental map, but for visual references, kind of looks like that.
Okay.
Of the things that came up in that interview in order, not in order, like they just come there, and then codes come within that, right? So that thing connects to that thing, but that's one code, that's another code, but they're connected because the themes are connected, and then another thing. So it's like
from the same interview.
yeah.
Okay.
So that's what I had started doing while I was interviewing people, doing that for each separate interview. And then I started connecting them in my brain.
Okay.
That
this
is
is so
I didn't
interesting.
see that coming. I started connecting them in my
do
brain.
this.
No, but I think it's like the diversity of the way we do
Yeah,
things.
I
you
also
know
think
what?
it's
And
very
then at some point I
interesting.
realized what I was doing, that it was kind of stupid the way that I was doing it. But I also realized what I want to do and what the framework is and how it relates to each one of the interviews. So I came up with a framework that has to do with themes and connect things and with the theory. And then I was like, okay, now I have this framework. And theoretically, what you would do as a good researcher is that I need to go back to all of the interviews and kind of code them properly or reanalyze them with that framework.
Okay.
That came from the interviews, but it's not obvious to anyone else how it came because it came in my brain.
Okay. Can we
Are you going to write it down? Are you going to write on a thesis? Actually, you will not understand it because it came in my brain.
I need to find a way to talk about it, but I try to explain to my supervisors how I came up with this thing, and I can't. I don't know.
Can we talk about the iterations of analysis, because that's important?
Yeah, I mean, it keeps
especially specifically my document analysis, so that's the one I have been doing since what, December of 2023. We're now in what are we in now? And I'm finally writing the chapter.
It's January 2025.
So,
oh my God,
I have iterated that analysis so many times.
Yeah.
First, it was inductive. First, I ended up coming up with, like you did, I came up with the themes first, and I was like, no, I have to recode them. So now let's go back and start coding. And then I was like, what the fuck am I doing? This doesn't make sense. So then I just started, I was like, scrap all this. I'm going to start inductively analyzing from the coding stage again. Did that. It was taking too long. And then I wasn't seeing the patterns between the different documents. Then I was like, you know what? Time is of the essence. And like, we have other things that we need to do. So eventually I was like, you're being inductive. Be deductive. It's so much easier and quicker. You have a theoretical framework that you're using. And I read a paper that did it in a certain way as well, where they were using critical race theory just like me. And I was like, take all the tenets of critical race, like the things that make it, and then ask yourself questions about the documents based off of those tenets. So like ordinariness of racism, interest conventions.
That's kind of what I did. Like in my brain, I connected the theory, right, with what I was listening to in the interviews. And I came up with this framework that was the way that I want all my research to be kind of structured, right?
And that's what I did. So the questions became my code. And then my codes generated themes. And now I have actual themes that I can write about that make sense.
Yeah, but now you need to recode.
No, because I've like because the questions were I did the codes. The questions were my deductive codes. And so I put everything within those codes. And then I was like, what are the patterns I'm seeing now based off of all these things in these codes? Boom, this is what I'm seeing. This makes sense. Cool. And now I have to analyze the interviews in the same way.
Because
I'm comparing the two.
Can I add up? Because I went a step further than you on this same thing, right? Okay, so I did the interviews. I started analyzing them.
Can I say one thing before you both say things?
Yes.
It's giving. This came to me in my dreams.
Yes. No, I'm being so serious. This is kind of how it happened. It was so like random, and I was like, why have I not been doing this the entire time? I've wasted all my time. Anyway.
Okay, I have a story about that. So I start with my interviews kind of inductively, like you said, right? So I don't know what the codes are. I start getting into deep in the interviews, extracting codes, themes, like making these mind maps, diagrams of each interview. And I do that with like a couple. I don't know how many I did it with. At the same time, I was reading other things and I was teaching. Okay, so I go and teach, and I organize this workshop for my students that use this theoretical framework. It's not a theoretical framework. It's more a framework for a workshop, whatever, that is to think about stuff, not to analyze stuff. And I prepared the workshop. I read about it. I read a bunch of papers. I did it with the students. And then I went home and I was like, I'm so fucking stupid.
Yes.
Because this is exactly what my PhD is about, and I hadn't realized until now.
Yes.
So this is what these people are talking about, but they don't know the words to use it, and I hadn't connected it, so I couldn't code it properly. But now this is it. And then I went through this frenzy on my Miro boards of creating this framework, and like I made this thing. And I emailed my supervisors, and I was like, I'm doing this thing now. I don't know if you agree or not, but this is it.
Yep.
You cannot do anything.
You can't disagree.
And they were both like, okay, I don't know what to say. You'll have to explain properly because I don't understand what you're talking about. Right? Okay.
Yes.
So then I continued like doing interviews. At that point, I hadn't finished with the interviews. I didn't change anything, continued doing them, continued agreeing with myself that this is the right thing to do, okay? And then I went back and I was like, I need to reanalyze these interviews according to these new codes. I never got to it. And I got to the phase where I had my symposium, where the symposium was based on this framework.
Oh, nice.
That was the whole thing. So the framework has 3 main, whatever sections.
I remember
and
you
my
saying,
symposium was to these 3 main sections. And I told the participants that were the same participants with my interviews. I was like, okay, I wrote like a nice paragraph for each one of these themes. And I was like, this is what this thing is about. This is how I understand it. How do you relate that to the things that you're doing in your practice? Come to the symposium and respond to me on that. So I just threw it back at them. And I was like,
Nice.
you know what? This is kind of related. I think this is related to what you were saying in the interviews. What do you think about it?
Yeah.
So then they populated it. But I still need to go back to the interviews and find code certain sections so I can put those sections in my writing.
Yes.
To show how that is actually related to the interviews. Because for now, it's like, I was doing this thing, and then they connected to each other. And then I came up with this thing. But there is no, there is there is a reasoning and a way that I did it.
Yeah.
But it's all in my brain.
Yeah.
It's okay. The general process is this. The general.
Okay, people, this is complicated.
This is for the listener.
It is complicated.
This is for the listener. The general analysis process. If you're in that point and you're just like, what the fuck is going on?
Talking about
What it should be. Not even just what we're talking about, but also what they're doing. Like if you're doing a PhD or any form of qualitative analysis, this is how it works. You start with your method of analysis, right? You start doing that. You're obviously looking at the data while you're doing that analysis. You then realize the data is telling you something, which is don't do this analysis, do another one. And then you start doing the other one. And that's when you start seeing your data for what it really is.
Yeah.
And I think that's okay, because when you read research papers and stuff and how they did their methods and analyze and whatever, they don't talk about the fact that sometimes
it doesn't work
it's
out.
not working.
Yeah, no.
You need to just change.
It's true.
That's why we need more papers that talk about the actual
failures.
Failures and the way that you did things and the method in the sense of not the method theoretically, but I think how.
I think we also get bogged down by systems and already instructions and how other people have done or what has worked or whatever. But I think I think the focus should be, how am I going to represent this data the best, and how am I going to myself arrive at certain conclusions from the things that I have collected, rather than how perfectly am I doing and how easily my road to the findings are. I think that might be
And a friend reminded me yesterday in a meeting that we had, not just me, but other people. She just finished a PhD not long ago. And she was giving tips to 2 other friends that are finishing, they're just finishing writing up now. And she was like, you need to remember, and I hadn't realized this when I was writing my PhD, but now I understand it, that a PhD is a training opportunity. And your final thesis doesn't have to be a perfectly written, cohesive, everything went in a perfect way line book that you put out to publish, but it's the documentation of your training process. And it's okay that we exactly don't know what we're doing, because that's how you learn. If you don't immerse yourself in your data and find different methods and then change it up and do something else and go back and forth, you're never gonna really learn how to do it. And I think
you can also come up with something new, you know.
can come up with something new. And each research project has a different approach. So if you go and do a completely different research project in 3 years, it's not you can use exactly the same formula, especially in qualitative analysis. So that's how it is, and you can't do much about it. And even if you have a perfect plan, it's probably not going to work out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that goes for everyone. I think we're talking very qual.
Yeah.
But then when we look at like our other friends like Belle and stuff like that, and they have to change methods and change
Yeah, yeah.
analysis stuff all the time because things are just not working in the way that they thought it would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's okay. Because I think at the time I was freaking out because I was like, well, like there's so much data as well. Like you get overwhelmed by how much there is.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I can't see it for what it is.
Yeah.
And it just takes, you just have to get comfortable with it, get to
Yeah.
know it, you know, love it. Like sleeping with a woman.
And not all the data has to be in your thesis.
Yeah,
There can be
yeah.
some that you
Yeah.
can actually.
Put to the side, and maybe you can
Yeah.
use them for a different paper or a
Yeah.
different project later on.
Yeah.
But yeah, you need to like kind of put
Pick
a
and
focus.
choose and,
Like
yeah.
that's why you have a research question.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I came up across this article. I mean, we talk about thematic analysis and reflexivity separately many times, but it was kind of outlining reflexive thematic analysis as a method.
Okay.
And I didn't read the whole thing yet. I have it like downloaded, ready to be read.
Same.
But the idea is, if I understand correctly, the idea is that when you're doing thematic analysis or any analysis for that matter, you can't really remove yourself. And in a
No,
way, you
yeah.
are a research instrument.
Yes.
And the way that you perceive the data is really different than the way that other people perceive the data.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this idea of going back and forth, it's something that we don't talk about often, but it's a very important process.
Yeah.
Like part of the process, because if you don't do that, then it means you just read it and whatever first happened, it happened, and you never like properly assessed it again.
Yeah.
So it's about like putting the researcher within the method of
That's
analyzing.
amazing.
I wonder how they talk about doing it like more practically. I don't know.
They never do with thematic analysis.
yeah.
They just kind of say, this is what it is, run
Yeah.
with it.
Not just that, there is such less transparency when people write articles
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
because there are these formats of writing and they just put in, oh, this is introduction, the methods, findings, discussion, and all of that. But I think you were absolutely correct. I think not another person can do what you have done at the same time or with the same people or the questions that you've asked to those. It's all different and it's all very contextual. And I wish people talked about more about how different their research was or the experience was, or if there were failures or whatever. But it's
Yeah.
mostly like so standardized.
It would be
and-
nice if people spoke about their research in a more narrative.
Way.
Yeah,
Like what did
yeah.
I actually do?
Yeah,
My
like-
supervisor, I gave my supervisor a draft structure of all my chapters, like very like outline and what would be in each chapter. And she actually told me, we were discussing this about the chapter, like our like more empirical chapters and how we kind of structure them. And she had told me that I actually need to, it would be good to narratively write down, not in a methodology kind of sense, but like what did I do? How did I do it? What did I learn from it before I start trying to like, you know, make this into like theory or connect it with theory or whatever the hell. And I think that's missing many times.
So much.
You know, I think actually one of the two is missing. Some people tend to be very just like, this is what I did and this is what the data came up with and these are the results, like very clean cut. And then other people tend to, when they write, become more like
Very self-centered.
theoretical
Yeah.
or
Oh, okay.
like trying to write up about the method or like making it like the big picture and the results and stuff like that,
Yeah.
without really going into what they did and how they did it.
Oh, that happens, yeah.
So I feel like there is a separation, and I think you cannot need both things at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah, yeah.
it's like,
Like a
actually
balance of,
like a
yeah,
balance, which is really
above.
difficult to do.
Very difficult. I
Yeah.
mean, they don't tell you this, but yeah. So we've talked about, we've talked about transcriptions,
Yeah.
coding.
Yeah.
And then I think a little bit of analyzing and writing
Yeah,
that we can
yeah.
talk about. Again, like for me, analyzing and writing started long back, but now I think I'm doing very structured things. That is, and I have decided to start writing from my findings chapters rather than any other chapters because
Yes.
Yes, I
it's
agree.
really difficult.
Yes.
I cannot
mean,
emphasize more on how
I also
difficult
think like your
it is.
introduction and your methodology and your literature review, you're already written parts of it.
Yes.
Like in your confirmation review afterwards, like
Yeah.
things changed.
Yeah.
But a lot of things have not changed
No.
really.
My- what I do over time, especially because I'm looking at my results, is I have like this document where I talk about the things I want to remove from the literature review or put in.
Okay.
Like I will just make a note just so I can go back later on and be like, okay, this is thing. Because there's some things that are not relevant.
But like a substantial amount of it is somewhere, and you just need to change it or add things or edit things or maybe change the structure a bit. But you don't need to write it from zero.
No, you don't. Yeah, but
so,
like findings you do.
It's results and discussion. That's the worst.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is happening to both of you, but I don't believe my own findings.
Yes. Oh my God. I'm so happy you said that. Do you know why? No. Okay. So I said to my supervisors, I'm having an issue. They said, this is, one of them was like, this is very Marissa of you.
Okay.
But, I find in, not even just sociology, social sciences, inclusive of psychology. I know you guys want to be different, but inclusive of psychology, they do research and you find their findings and they make a whole theory and stuff around it. And it's about shit that we do in our lives. It's like so underwhelming in my opinion because they just intellectualize something we all already knew, right? And then there's times where you read a paper or you read theory or whatever, and it's a theory that no one's ever thought of and it's amazing. It's like this cute little nugget of knowledge and you're like, oh, how could you even think that up? And so it's either going to be like really underwhelming or really underthought or really overthought.
Sure.
And so when I look at my findings, sometimes I'm like, is this a find?
Yeah.
Is this like something that I think is very obvious, but then maybe other people think is really cool?
Yeah.
Or is it just shit?
Yeah.
And like, I just don't like, and I don't, so sometimes,
Especially for observation data, because those are just field notes of how I was feeling and what did I see, you know, rather than having like a proper recording of like proper proof or evidence that this person actually said this. Observation data is just me who was there, the only person, not even like someone else was there with me who can, you know, be like, oh, I was witness to this, saying that this happened and believe me, this happened. And I'm being truthful, but I still don't myself believe it.
It's our understanding of like evidence and like data. And it's like, it's really interesting because all of your data, even if it's not an observation, even if it's like something someone said, you're interpreting it your way.
Exactly.
And so you're like, is my way the way? And it's like, obviously it is because it's your work. But then it's like, is it? And I have that all the time. I hate that.
I know. I hate it. And then my supervisors are always like, you don't need to cite another person to prove your point. They are like, why is there so much literature in your findings chapter?
Oh my God.
I am like, I need to prove that
I'm slightly the opposite.
Oh, really? But I feel very validated by everything you're saying because I had the exact same critique.
I completely understand what you're saying and I agree with you. I think in other projects it has happened to me. But I mean, I think I'm the type of person that conceptualizes and theorizes things. Like it's how my brain works, right? So I'm like it's all these diagrams and whatever things that I'm putting together, but I'm good of seeing like the really big picture of a lot of things coming together, right? So I just come up with the things that I call them my theories, right? That are obviously based on stuff, like they're not just out of my head. And then I have this saying and it seems to me it seems like really logical and like it makes sense and like I'm sure someone else has thought about it and has written about this thing. And it's based on things that I talked with people, things that came up, or like linking different things together. And then I think that it's a completely normal thing and I show it to someone and they're like, oh my God, that's so cool. Like you came up with this thing. And I think it's because I make diagrams of the theories or whatever the hell, right? So they're acting like it's this big thing. And I just go with it.
That's good. I need that confidence.
Like, I need to be told it's a big thing for me to think it's a big thing.
No, I get that. But I'm like, I I don't know. I feel like I have a certain intuition, and that's how I operate in life in general. I just go with my intuition, and I feel like I should be referencing more things or linking it to others or trying to justify myself. But sometimes I can't be bothered, and I'm like, this is what it is. This is what I came up with. Like, deal with it.
I want to be more like that, because I'm just like, I need to find a paper that corroborates this finding.
This is what I came up with. What do you think about it? Like that's, and I was like, okay, and everyone was like, cool, and like talking about it with Mateus, and he was like, oh my god, and it's so cool, and how did you come up with it, and how did you link those things?
That's so
and I was like, I don't know, I just did it. Like, it's just how my brain works. But for me, it's not a big deal. But then people make a deal out of it, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening? I don't understand. So yeah, sometimes I need to go back and find other things to cite. So I feel like I didn't just come up with it, but I just came up with it anyway.
I just,
I don't know if that's I feel like I'm discrediting myself. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, it's not a good way to be a researcher.
No, but that is the way, isn't it? A lot of people...
Is it?
Yeah, you have to think, I found something new.
Exactly.
This is important, and I think everyone should know about it and have their opinions on it.
Yeah.
And you have to also believe.
Guess,
You have to believe in yourself and be more confident when you write.
Yeah,
and I think
I don't know.
I have to work on it, but I'm just really finding it. That is one of my biggest challenges while I'm writing, because I'm like, should I write about this? And I need one of my supervisors to be like, yes. And then I'm like, okay, Dad, I'll write about this.
I feel like it's because I'm also underwhelmed by other people. So like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, intersectionality, huge, right? If I had come up with intersection, like let's say it was my idea and I was thinking about it and I was doing research and I was like, I would have probably not seen that as a finding. That people have compounding
you'd be like,
inequalities.
Yeah, that's normal.
Yes, like, because to me that's just life.
Like, I'm black and I'm a woman, so of course I'm like,
yes, it wouldn't have been that wouldn't have been a finding to me. But it's like such a big thing that we all talk about.
Interesting.
Like, not even in academia, but in life, like we talk about it all the time. So I'm just like, okay.
I think it's my Leo energy coming out.
That is good.
It's the only moment where
good.
I'm a Leo. Like.
This is my Aquarius energy. I'm like, everybody knows this. And I just move on. Like,
I don't know how to contribute to this conversation.
Just sit there and
just cry. And like, yes, that's my contribution. Yeah, so writing has been very like mixed for me. But now I'm just like, I have a deadline and I have to do it. So I just do it.
Yeah.
I treat my supervisors, and if they're listening to this, they would probably agree with
hope
me,
they're not.
as editors. Where I write random as paragraphs of stuff and they can just edit it for me. And they do it. And
I would love if my supervisors did that, but there's no
do they not
chance.
edit it for you? Like when I say,
Like
sometimes
you mean edit like my sentences?
No, not just that, but also like tell you whether this fits with the broader theme of the page.
Yeah, or maybe you should consider this bit or da-da-da-da.
Yeah, I don't think they go that in depth.
Okay.
I think they might go more. Like, it depends on what it is that I'm writing.
Yeah.
Maybe with the findings chapters, they will be more like, because Tanzil always tells me, I really want you to write this, not a specific way, but I want it to come through properly.
Yeah.
So I hope that he'll support me in doing that. But I'm very like independent.
That's
usually
really cool.
in that
That's
sense.
good.
Yeah,
I'd appreciate some more
spoon
help.
feeding.
I'm not necessarily independent in the writing. It's like things like the analysis. I don't think my supervisors understand me sometimes. I think they're just like, okay, we know you're going to come up with something, so just do it. Like, it's cool.
Yeah.
But the writing side, because it's like a tangible output that they can actually look at and interrogate. And,
I am also trying to make writing fun for me.
Okay.
Which is why I'm doing something that a lot of urban planners and architect PhDs do. That is create like fancy themes for my chapters.
Don't you normally create themes for your chapter?
They're not very obvious. They're a bit like, so one of my first finding chapters, and I'm super proud of it, by the way, has themes where I looked at assumed absence of caste absence of cast and presence of cast,
Okay.
and like have these
Yeah,
sort
yeah.
of like
Okay, I understand
like
what you're saying.
basically
I
have
see.
like
yeah.
have like stuff that would make me excited to write about it, rather than having very basic sub themes of like, oh, cast in Kolkata, cast in Dalit
Okay.
women's lives, or something
You're
like that.
like-
I do that with naming.
I'm trying to like shift it and look at like how can I make it more funky for myself. Otherwise, I don't think I'll be able to write this thesis. So
I do that with my subheadings. So, like, for instance, one was about like the erasure of queer people, like bringing queer people in and then erasing them when they're not important anymore.
Right.
So mine was where brackets not here,
right, yeah.
but we are still queer.
Ooh,
That's do you know what I mean?
right, yeah.
It's like I just do fun like puns a
Yeah,
lot of the time.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
like my
yeah.
title is a pun.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if we should end, but
We should.
Yeah.
What time is it?
I think it's 3:40.
Yeah.
So we
How
should
long have we
slowly.
been? Oh my god.
We should slowly end. I mean, I think through you going step by step, we both talked about what we're doing. But I
Yeah.
feel like maybe later on, when we're a bit more deep into writing, we can do a proper writing episode.
yeah.
Where we talk about more of like how do we write, how do you
Yeah.
get past like the empty page, how do you like you know all of
Absolutely.
this writing more specific
Also,
things.
if people are doing PhDs in the UK, there's a lot of stuff going on with respect to writing workshops, or I don't know, like to ask your friends to hang out with you someday and just write together
Yeah.
or something
Yeah,
like
maybe we
that.
should do
and
that.
like,
Writing retreat. We were
well,
supposed
we
to.
were supposed to.
But I mean, even like just meet in the uni to write
That's true.
and
we
like
could do
just be
that.
somewhere
Yeah.
together and all write and then have breaks.
We should go showroom to write.
I
And
love
then go to the
showroom.
cinema
To write,
afterwards.
yeah.
I love
We
showroom.
can do that.
Yeah.
But one thing I wanted to talk about was tools, but we didn't have enough time.
Tools for?
Like tools or like ways
Tips, do you
we
mean?
organize.
Oh.
No, like actual tools that you might use. Like if it's a pen and a paper, that's
Yeah.
a tool. I use like Notion a lot. Miro. Well, I don't really use Miro now because they took too long to give me the license. But Mural, like
I love
whiteboards.
Miro. I can give you a master course on using Miro.
We,
in
I would
different
love
ways.
that.
I love Notion now.
I
Notion
is
really
amazing.
struggle with
Miro?
apps in general and mind maps. I think my supervisors really want me to make mind maps. My mind maps look like this, like you've seen.
Why do you struggle
These are
with
my
mind
mind
maps?
maps. Well, that's what I'm saying. My brain doesn't work like
It doesn't
like,
map.
Like it doesn't map. It really like
Yeah.
it just puts
It
ideas
just
into
splats.
like
Mine splats.
like that. So my tools are post-it notes written down with pen and paper.
Honestly, the only reason I use whiteboards is because I don't have enough space. If I was doing a smaller project, 100% I would put
Okay,
put
I have
everything
a
on the wall.
question. I just thought about other things that I want to talk about.
Okay.
Should we do a continuation of this next time?
Okay. Of what?
Yeah.
Of kind of the same thing
Or like the ways we do
going
things?
on. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Like I don't know if that like maybe it's interesting because I was just thinking now of I'm going through this process now because my symposium was in person and there was like my participants, but then there was another like 50 people. And I have like a lot of things that I designed, but now a lot of data that is in different formats. And I feel like it's interesting to talk about even you, like you had field notes, you had interviews, you had observations, like how, what are the things that we collect? How do we then put them all together?
Okay.
Like, I don't know if that makes sense. What tools do we use to
Yeah.
organize them, etc.?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm finding it really difficult. Just want to say that.
Yeah, it's
To what?
really hard.
Organize?
To bring, I don't know, to bring all of this. I see them as like windows, and I'm trying to be like, oh my God, I'm seeing a particular reality through this window, and it's kind of different from this. It's kind of different. It's different, and to just like bring them together is like
make a
Yeah.
fucking
picture.
difficult,
Yeah.
man. It's
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
difficult.
it is difficult.
And
That's kind of what I mean. Like, how do we do that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
So
Maybe we talk
Let's
about,
talk about
it. Yeah,
Okay.
because like there's no more time.
There is no more time.
Yeah,
But we love you. Bye.
we love you a lot. Bye, bitches.